The Boy Who Talked with Animals. From the Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar by Roald Dahl. Read by Steve Day for his friend Em Puddy. In this extract, fishermen have landed a turtle on a beach in Jamaica. Visitors want his shell. The hotel manager wants him for turtle meat, but a small boy, David, is hysterical at his capture, and to the amazement of everyone flings his arms round the turtle's neck and talks to him gently. David's father persuades the fisherman to let the turtle return to the sea. The crowd moved a few yards up the beach. The tug-of-war men let go the rope and moved back with the others. Willie got down on his hands and knees and crept very cautiously up to one side of the turtle. Then he began untying the knot in the rope. He kept well out of the range of the big flippers as he did this. When the knot was untied, Willie crawled back. Then the 4 other fishermen stepped forward with their poles. The poles were about 7 feet long and immensely thick. They wedged them underneath the shell of the turtle and began to rock the great creature from side to side on its shell. The shell had a high dome and was well shaped for rocking. "Up and down," sang the fishermen as they rocked away. "Up and down, up and down, up and down." The old turtle became thoroughly upset, and who could blame it? The big flippers lashed the air frantically, and the head kept shooting in and out of the shell. "Row him over," sang the fishermen. "Up and over, row him over, one more time and over he goes." The turtle tilted high up on it to its side, and crashed down in the sand the right way up. But it didn't walk away at once. The huge brown head came out and peered cautiously around. Oops. "Go, turtle, go," the small boy called out. "Go back to the sea." The 2 hooded black eyes of the turtle peered up at the boy. The eyes were bright and lively, full of the wisdom of great age. The boy looked back at the turtle, and this time when he spoke, his voice was soft and intimate. "Goodbye, old man," he said. "Go far away this time." The black eyes remained resting on the boy for a few seconds more. Nobody moved. Then, with great dignity, the massive beast turned away and began waddling toward the edge of the ocean. He didn't hurry. He moved sedately over the sandy beach, the big shell rocking gently from side to side as he went. The crowd watched in silence. He entered the water. He kept going. Soon he was swimming. He was in his element now. He swam gracefully and very fast, with the head held high. The sea was calm, and he made little waves that fanned out behind him on both sides, like the wave of a boat. It was several minutes before we lost sight of him, and by then he was halfway to the horizon. The guests began wandering back to the hotel. They were curiously subdued. There was no joking or bantering now, no laughing. Something had happened. Something strange had come fluttering across the beach. I walked back to my small balcony and sat down with a cigarette. I had an uneasy feeling that this was not the end of the affair. The next morning at 8 o'clock, the Jamaican girl, the one who had told me about Mr. Wasserman and the coconut, brought a glass of orange juice to my room. Big fuss in the hotel this morning," she said, as she placed the glass on the table and drew back the curtains. "Everyone flying about all over the place like they was crazy." "Why? What's happened?" "That little boy in number 12, he's vanished. He disappeared in the night." "You mean the turtle boy?" "That's him," she said. "His parents is raising the roof, and the manager's going mad." "How long's he been missing?" "About 2 hours ago his father found the bed empty, but he could have gone any time in the night, I reckon." "Yes," I said, "he could." "Everybody in the hotel searching high and low," she said, "and a police car just arrived." "Maybe he just got up early and went for a climb on the rocks," I said. Her large, dark, haunted-looking eyes rested a moment on my face, then traveled away. "I do not think so," she said, and out she went. I slipped on some clothes and hurried down to the beach. On the beach itself, 2 native policemen in khaki uniforms were standing with Mr. Edwards, the manager. Mr. Edwards was doing the talking. The policemen were listening patiently. In the distance, at both ends of the beach, I could see small groups of people, hotel servants as well as hotel guests, spreading out and heading for the rocks. The morning was beautiful. The sky was smoke blue, faintly glazed with yellow. The sun was up and making diamonds all over the smooth sea, and Mr. Edwards was talking loudly with the 2 native policemen and waving his arms. I wanted to help. What should I do? Which way should I go? It would be pointless simply to follow the others, so I just kept walking towards Mr. Edwards. About then I saw the fishing boat. The long wooden canoe with a single mast and a flapping brown sail was still some way out to sea, but it was heading for the beach. The 2 natives aboard, one at either end, were paddling hard. They were paddling very hard. The paddles rose and fell at such a terrific speed they might have been in a race. I stopped and watched them. Why the great rush to reach the shore? Quite obviously they had something to tell. I kept my eyes on the boat. Over to my left I could hear Mr. Edwards saying to the 2 policemen, "It is perfectly ridiculous. I can't have people disappearing like that from my hotel. You better find him fast, you understand me? He's either wandered off somewhere, or got lost, or he's been kidnapped. Either way, it's the responsibility of the police." The fishing boat skimmed over the water and came gliding up on the sand to the water's edge. Both men dropped their paddles and jumped out. They started running up the beach. I recognized the one in front of Willie as Willie. Then he caught sight of the manager and the 2 policemen. He made straight for them. "Hey, Mr. Edwards," Willie called out. "We just seen a crazy thing." The manager stiffened and jerked back his neck. The 2 policemen remained impassive. They were used to excitable people. They met them every day. Willie stopped in front of the group, his chest heaving in and out with heavy breathing. The other fisherman was close behind him. They were both naked except for a tiny loincloth, their black skins shining with sweat. "We've been paddling full speed for a long way," Willie said, excusing his out-of-breathness. "We thought we ought to come back and tell it as quick as we can." "Tell what?" the manager said. "What did you see?" "It was crazy, man! Absolutely crazy!" "Get on with it, Willie, for heaven's sake." "You won't believe it," Willie said. "There ain't nobody going to believe it. Isn't that right, Tom?" "That's right," the other fisherman said, nodding vigorously. "If Willie here hadn't been with me to prove it, I wouldn't have believed it myself." "Believed what?" Mr. Edwards said. "Just tell us what you saw." "We gone off early," Willie said, "about 4 o'clock this morning, and we must have been a couple of miles out before it got light enough to see anything properly. Suddenly, as the sun comes up, we see right ahead of us, not more than 50 yards away, we see something we couldn't believe, not even with our own eyes." "What?" snapped Mr. Edwards. "For heaven's sake, get on." "We sees that old monster turtle swimming away out there, the one on the beach yesterday, and we sees the boy sitting high up on the turtle's back and riding him over the sea like a horse." "You gotta believe it!" the other fisherman cried. "I sees it too, so you gotta believe it!" Mr. Edwards looked at the 2 policemen. The 2 policemen looked at the fisherman. "You wouldn't be having us on, would you?" one of the policemen said. "I swear it!" cried Willie. "It's the gospel truth. There's this little boy riding high up on the turtle's back, and his feet isn't even touching the water. He's dry as a bone, and sitting there comfy and easy as could be. So we go after them. Of course we go after them. At first we try creeping up on them very quietly like we always do when we're catching a turtle, but the boy sees us. We aren't very far away at this time, you understand. No more than from here to the edge of the water, and the boy sees us. He sort of leans forward as if he's saying something to that old turtle, and the turtle's head comes up, and he starts swimming like the clappers of hell. Man, could that turtle go! Tom and me can paddle pretty quick when we want to, but we've no chance against that monster. No chance at all. He's going at least twice as fast as we are. Easily twice as fast. Easily 5 times as fast, 6 times as fast. What do you say, Tom?" "I'd say he's going 3 times as fast, Tom said. And I'll tell you why. In about 10 or 15 minutes, there's a mile ahead of us. Why on earth didn't you call out to the boy? The manager asked. Why didn't you speak to him earlier on when you were closer? We never stop calling out, man, Willie cried. As soon as the boy sees us and we're not trying to creep up on them any longer, then we start yelling. We yell everything under the sun at that boy to try to get him aboard. Hey, boy, I yell at him. You come on back with us. We'll give you a lift home. That ain't no good what you're doing there, boy. Jump off and swim while you got the chance and we'll pick you up. Come on, boy, jump. Your mammy must be waiting for you at home, boy. So why don't you come on in with us? And once I shouted at him, listen, boy, we're going to make you a promise. We promise not to catch that old turtle if you come with us. Did he answer you at all? The manager asked. He never even looks round, Willie said. He sits high up on that shed and he's sort of rocking forwards and backwards with his body, just like he's urging the old turtle to go faster and faster. You're going to lose that boy, Mr. Edwards, unless someone out there gets real quick and grabs him away. The manager's normally pink face had turned white as paper. Which way were they heading? He asked sharply. North, Willie answered. Almost due north. Right, the manager said. We'll take the speedboat. I want you with us, Willie, and you, Tom. The manager, the 2 policemen, and the 2 fishermen ran down to where the boat that was used for water skiing lay beached on the sand. They pushed the boat out, and even the manager lent a hand, wading up to his knees in his well-pressed white trousers. Then they all climbed in. I watched them go zooming off. 2 hours later, I watched them coming back. They had seen nothing. All through that day, speedboats and yachts from other hotels along the coast searched the ocean. In the afternoon, the boy's father hired a helicopter. He rode in it himself, and they were up there 3 hours. They found no trace of the turtle or the boy. For a week the search went on, but with no result. And now, nearly a year has gone by since it happened. In that time there's been only one significant bit of news. A party of Americans, out from Nassau in the Bahamas, were deep sea fishing off a large island called Eleuthera. There are literally thousands of coral reefs and small, uninhabited islands in this area. And upon one of these tiny islands, the captain of the yacht saw through his binoculars the figure of a small person. There was a sandy beach on the island, and the small person was walking on the beach. The binoculars were passed around, and everyone who looked through them agreed that it was a child of some sort. There was, of course, a lot of excitement on board, and the fishing lines were quickly reeled in. The captain steered the yacht straight for the island. When they were half a mile off, they were able, through the binoculars, to see clearly that the figure on the beach was a boy. And although sunburnt, he was almost certainly white-skinned, not a native. At that point, the watchers on the island also spotted what looked like a giant turtle on the sand near the boy. What happened next happened very quickly. The boy, who had probably caught sight of the approaching yacht, jumped onto the turtle's back, and the huge creature entered the water and swam at a great speed around the island and out of sight. The yacht searched for 2 hours, but nothing more was seen, either of the boy or the turtle. There is no reason to disbelieve this report. There were 5 people on the yacht. 4 of them were Americans, and the captain was a Bahamian from Nassau. All of them, in turn, saw the boy and the turtle through the binoculars. To reach Eleuthera Island from Jamaica by sea, one must first travel northeast for 250 miles and pass through the Windward Passage between Cuba and Haiti. Then one must go north-northwest for a further 300 miles at least. This is a total distance of 550 miles, which is a very long journey for a small boy to make on the shell of a giant turtle. Who knows what to think of all of this? One day, perhaps, he will come back, though I personally doubt it. I have a feeling he's quite happy where he is. This was a recording of The Boy Who Talked with Animals from the wonderful story of Henry Sugar by Roald Dahl. Recorded in July 2014 by Steve Day in King City, Ontario, Canada, for his friend Em Puddy in England.